Hi, motherfuckers.
You sound like a bitch.
Don't move your click clack. Okay.
Don't.
We had dinner and then I gave him my dessert.
I said, land the plane, sister.
Bitch, how about you take your own fucking advice, Ramble Rihanna? Happy Whiteclaw Wednesday and welcome back to Love That For Us. Does everybody have their White Claws?
Yes, I do.
What are we drinking?
I switched it up and went with mango.
Freaky deaky.
Yeah.
I'm going for a lime today, ladies.
I fuck with the tangerine, so I'm going to stick with that. We have a special guest on today, our good friend Lindsay. Hi, Lindsay.
Hello, ladies.
We're going to be talking about ghosting and the one to be ghosted. So Lindsay has a really great story to tell us today about being ghosted. So everybody get out your White Claws and get ready because it's pretty fucked up. And it gives me life. So are we ready?
I'm
ready.
ready.
My friends like to call me the queen of being ghosted. No, I'm just kidding. So basically, I was in a relationship for almost 5 years. It was about 4.5 when this all happened. And the guy that I was in a relationship, our relationship just wasn't good. It was just not it, especially towards the end there. So we had like problems and stuff. But then it got to the point where there was a week where we were kind of arguing and he just stopped texting me back. And literally it was like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And he just wasn't texting me back. And I had just seen him like the weekend before. And there was one day where he just stopped replying to my text messages. And I finally, on the last day, I was like, you do realize it's not really how it works. Like, you can't do this, you know? I was just so confused. And he never, I finally sent him a text message because he wouldn't talk to me in any other form. And I said, and you know, a lot of people were like, did you drive by his house? Like, did you call him? Like, no, I didn't care enough. You know, when people say that the girl checks out of the relationship, like before it's over.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was how it was. Like, I was already done and coming to terms with it. It was just a matter of time. So by the time he stopped replying, I just sent him a text message and I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna go then.
I'm going to head out.
I was like, good
I'm
luck.
gonna head out.
Yeah, I was like, I'm gonna head out. Good luck. Talk to you never.
Yeah.
And he never responded to that text message. And we never spoke again.
Wow.
And that was basically it. And he also got a girlfriend a month later. So it was really sick.
Wild. Like 5 years almost. Like, that shit's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, you know, not that ghosting is necessarily good, but I've done it in a capacity, you know.
We all have.
Yeah. With people, you know, you just talk to for however long. But I mean, we were in a long-term serious relationship and he just decided one day, oh, I'm just not going to text this bitch.
Yeah, I just like don't think I fucking like you anymore, so I'm just not gonna text you.
Yeah.
Good luck.
It goes down in history as the weirdest thing that's ever happened to me, for sure.
But it got weirder.
It did get weirder. So this was what,
you know what they say, it's gotta get weirder before it gets better.
This was approx 2 years ago. And funny enough, since we've been in quarantine, he has come out of the shadows. He has broken up with his girlfriend and slid into my messages. Of course.
So he found his phone after all this time.
Of course, because they always do. They just always.
They always They always do. They always come out right after. It's like, they're like, yeah, sorry, I think I'm gonna pass on you. And then they like get a fucking girlfriend, and then it doesn't work out, and then it's always 2 years too.
Yeah, right.
It's always
like
2 years.
Mhm.
It's always 2 years. And then they just want to hit you up like no time's passed.
And they
at all.
act
Hey,
like
girly.
they always act like it's not a big deal. Hey, how are you? Like, why haven't we hung out? It's like,
I
what do
know.
you mean?
Well,
What
first
the fuck
of
do you
all,
mean?
he says, I only doing this because you broke up with your girlfriend. Like, you realize that. And I said to him, I was like, do you think I'm fucking stupid? Like, do you really truly think I'm an idiot? And he was like, I'm not reaching out to you because of that. It's really weird to reach out to somebody while you're dating, blah, blah. And I was like, dude, if your girlfriend was a decent human being, she wouldn't have cared if you just apologized to me. You know?
Yeah.
You would have respected.
Like,
Yeah,
do the right
and I
thing and have
don't, and I
respect.
think that if he would have explained it to her, she would have understood. Like, hey, I just want to say sorry to this person that I did really fucking wrong.
Any logical, understanding girl would think that that would be the right thing
Right.
to do,
I
or
think
at least
that
I
would
would
be
hope.
attractive.
Right,
You would be like,
exactly.
oh, wow,
Totally.
that's really respectful.
Very
I
attractive.
agree.
Yeah.
And he just came back and said all the things, the good old, you were the best that I ever had.
Missing
And
you,
I
cutie.
missed
Missing you, loving you.
and yeah, loving you, missing you. And he was like, please, let's be friends. And I was like, no. And he was like,
No.
why? And I was like, I don't want to be your fucking friend. I was like, I literally want nothing less than to be your friend.
There's absolutely nothing less that I would want than to like have to fucking hang out with you and like act like I like you.
Yeah, I was like, no, thank you. And that was, basically it. But I will say that it helped me in a few ways because, I mean, not gonna lie, it makes it easier to move on when you're not talking to that person, when you have no communication or connection with them. You know,
Totally.
I was like, all right, well, I'm just gonna do the same thing. And not only that, but it made me a tougher person. I think prior to that experience, I might have been more of a sensitive person.
A loser bitch.
And now it's like when people treat me like that, I like immediately will not stand for it.
Love
So
that.
Love that for you.
That's a positive.
We love that
We
for
love
you.
that for me. So that's a positive thing that came out of it. But yeah, I mean, I also kind of have no sympathy for people who, like, this is kind of bad, but look for closure. Like, I had a friend a few months ago, like, she needed closure with this guy she was talking to for like a month. And I was like, I'm the wrong person to talk to about closure. Like, I was like, just move on, just get over it. Because, you know, sometimes you don't get it and you literally have to accept something that's never going to come and do it yourself, you know?
Yeah, I feel like when most things end, it's rare to get like the closure you want.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, like even if you like feel like you get closure, it's not in the way you expect, I don't think.
Yeah, for sure. And that's another thing I had to realize is no answer, nothing he could have said or said now or said then or whatever. Nothing would have made it okay.
Yeah, like bottom line is it's over and you just have to thank you next them.
Yes.
Closure's like in your
next.
head, you know, like you can create it for
Yeah.
yourself for sure.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah.
What's sad too is like I've seen situations where girls like they need it, like they fiend it. They're like, I need the closure, or else I've seen girls who like have gotten the closure, or even guys get the closure, but yet like they think that they need more closure, and it's always like closure is closure. There's no closure part 1, closure part 2, closure part 3. Like closure is closure.
And I feel like
closure
normally
is
closure is really just like after the ending point, whatever your ending point where you both realize or one of you realizes like this isn't working. Closure is normally just that conversation after to confirm the shit's not working. Like, and
Yeah.
it's like,
That's so
it's
true.
like, that's just like a confirmation that we already knew our shit's not working anymore. You
Right.
know?
Yeah, definitely. Like, I feel like what Lindsay said earlier about like how she kind of knew it was over before like they just stopped talking.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like in most relationships you kind of feel when like it's just done. But like the thing is with longer relationships, usually a conversation is kind of owed just to like be like, okay, yeah, we're no longer together.
Yeah.
But like
Absolutely.
for like shorter things, I feel like it's more okay to ghost, because sometimes you don't always have to owe someone an explanation. Like if you've just been talking to them or gone on one date or whatever. Like
I
know
agree.
I've been guilty of ghosting in situations like that, but like because I just feel like I don't really owe them anything. Like the date didn't go well, so
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think you always owe someone an explanation. And I think that time and the like length and the seriousness of the relationship, you know, means a lot in that. But you know, you guys know, like we were like dating. I mean, like, you know, 4.5 years. Like he could have at least been like, hey, later.
yeah.
He could have at least left you a voicemail.
Or like even just sent like a fucking text.
Yeah. Or just could have said bye. He could have just been bye. Like it would have been
Like
more clear.
even a see ya.
Even just like a see ya. And then just to pop up 2 years later, like, hey, what's going on?
Oh, no. Lindsay, tell the Snapchat part. That's my favorite.
Oh, so when he had added me back recently, he
come out of the woodwork.
He literally snaps me just like a photo of, I don't know, his feet or some stupid shit. And he was like, hi. Like that's all the snap said was hi. And I was like, excuse me. And I replied and I was like, oh, look, you finally found your phone.
Like the best clap back I've ever heard.
The best line ever.
Because seriously,
I'm so, oh my
it's
God.
like we never
Hey,
officially
cutie.
broke up. So I'm like, oh, you lost your phone? You finally found it? Sounds good.
God, I'm sorry. Did your fucking fingers break?
I'm sorry. Did you?
It's like, did he just expect you to like brush over that part and be like, oh yeah, hey.
No, it's like what they think.
Yeah, that was the part that blew my mind the most, was that he thought I would ever want to be his fucking friend.
But what the most sad part is that in his mind, he had this idea of you still the person you were 2 years ago, which is extremely different than who you are now. Like when I met you, you just got out of that relationship and like you were a different person. Like you weren't as strong. You weren't as, you know, as you are now. And so it's like he in his mind thinks that was still who you were. And it was like, I'm sorry. You had a glow up, you got fucking hotter and smarter and cooler, and you just like would never tolerate that bullshit. So it's like in his mind he thought that you were still the same old you, like, oh, she'll come running back to me, and you're like, bitch, you got me fucked up, I ain't coming back.
And like, you know, I feel like bad for him, truly, because like it's pathetic. It really is. It's pathetic. And it's like the fact that like somebody like it was just what a coward to do something like that too. Like all it took was just saying it to my face and I would have been like, okay. Like I was, like I said, I was never the type to like go crazy, drive by his house, like, you know, like reach out to his family or anything like that. I never did any of that because I, first of all, didn't care enough. But second of all, like I just, it could have been really simple. It could have been like, look, this just isn't working out. Like, of course I would have been sad, but you know, you figure it out. So it's like the fact that he just couldn't do anything is like, I don't know. It's wild.
Pathetic.
Yeah, it's crazy. Of course, him saying those things to me now, of course, it was like satisfying to hear.
To get the apology finally.
Yeah. even though it really wasn't shit, like he didn't really say anything of substance, but that was not surprising.
Yeah.
But I mean, to hear those things now was satisfying, I guess, but it didn't do anything for me. It wasn't closing for me. Like I had already closed it. I already didn't care. There was already, which, you know, it's that just another point that like closure, it's more within you than it is with what the other person gives you. Truly.
Yeah.
Truly,
So,
yeah, I agree.
It just depends on how fast you move forward from it, or like how long you hold on to things personally.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess my advice to anyone that goes through it is just like, don't put up with it. Don't try to reach out again. Like if they're doing that, that's all you need to know. If they're the type of person that would ever do anything like that to you, that is all you need to know, you know?
It shows more about them than it does you.
Right.
Totally. Your character and like how.
But also, I think it's important to know, like what Katie was saying, is to also know the length and the depth of the relationship, because a lot of times people don't know you shit and they're allowed to never talk to you again, and you know.
Totally.
Okay, Christy, you have had a similar experience, right? A couple of times with like the same person too. Not the same person as me, but the same person. Same person multiple times.
I have. He is such a treat. He's a treat.
He's a sweetie treat.
He's a sweetie pie. Okay, so he really did like a big fecking number on me. So it's like I'm laughing about it because it's like been so many years of the same shit that it's almost like a comedy. Like my life's just like big one fucking joke. So. Okay, so him and I met in middle school, and then we became like good friends, like 13, and we were just young, stupid kids. And then we got older, you know, whatever. We've been in each other's lives ever since. And then, you know, we hit like probably 19, 20. He got a girlfriend, and I just like didn't fucking like her. She just kind of sucked. But so we stopped talking, and he cut me off for like 2 years, just like out of nowhere one day. Like just straight cut me off, deleted me, blocked me on everything, like no explanation. And I was like, oh my gosh, all those years of friendships for nothing. So he cut me off, and then it's like I said, always 2 years later, he hits me up. Hi, hey, cutie. It's just like, who do you think you like are? So then we spent like another 2 years as friends again. We went out a lot to the bars, had fun, like whatever. And then we've always, like, to explain it, we've always been really good friends that, like, I don't know, like we have like an attraction to each. I can't explain it. It's just one big fucking disaster. But so then everything was fine, you know, whatever. And then all of a sudden one day he blocked me on everything again 2 years later.
Oh my God.
And I was like, okay. And this time when he blocked me, it didn't hurt as much. And like, I got over it. I literally like forgot about him. And I was like, fine. Honestly, I was fine. Like, it sucked I didn't have my friend anymore. Like, every time he's done this to me, it's more just like, I'm sad that he's not my friend, because like I miss my friend. But it's whatever. Like, I bounced back quick. And so this is when I lived in North Carolina, and we didn't talk in 2 years. I completely forgot about him, honestly. I didn't know what he was up to. I had no idea where he was living, what he was doing, nothing. And then I was getting ready to go out with my friends, and my phone started ringing, and I looked down, and he's FaceTiming me. And I was like, oh, this is a surprise. So I was like, do I answer this or do I not? Like, I honestly was sitting there going, ugh, like if I answer, I'm going to let him right back in, like think like he's going to think it's okay to keep doing this to me. So I was like, but then again, I want to hear what this dumbass has to say. So I answered and I was like, hi. And he was like, hey, oh my gosh, like it's been so long. Hey, stranger. And I was like, yeah, hi, what's up? Like, what the fuck do you want? Basically is what I'm thinking. And he's like, I'm driving, home. I moved to this other state. And he's like, I'm, on a long drive there right now. And like, I've just been thinking about you a lot lately. So I thought I'd just pick up and call you. And I was like, after 2 years.
Like, it wasn't that long of a drive, honey.
I know. I was like, also it's like, it's a bold move that he FaceTimed me.
They have some nerve. Like, what is
right?
the nerve that they have?
It's like they don't think, oh, I'm sorry, you just thought that you could cut me off for 2 years and then like just pop back up. It was like he didn't even want to acknowledge the fact that he didn't speak to me for forever. Like, I was like, what the hell? Like, you don't even know what's going on in my life. And so we talked on the phone for a couple hours at night. And then we chit-chatted for a little bit after that, like a couple weeks. And then I moved home from North Carolina and we had a falling out. He didn't talk to me for like 2 months. And I was like, gosh, it's like a revolving door and it's just the same crap. And so I was like, this guy. And so then he kind of popped back in my life again. In my opinion, we started getting like our friendship was way different this time around because I feel like we were a lot more mature, had more adult topics to talk about, in my opinion, like I said. And so I thought that, like, we were becoming really great friends again. It was really nice to have him back. We talked often. And then he came out to visit because he lived in a different state. And we didn't talk a little bit after. And then we started talking back again. And he just kind of started playing those games again where he stops talking to me and then he like wants to pop back up. And honestly, I got really tired of it. And we hadn't talked in 2 months and I texted him and was like, hey, could you give me a call? He called me right away and we talked it over and I just like laid everything out on the table. And I was just like, the way that you treat me, the ghosting me, and then being my friend, popping back up in my life, like it's just disrespectful. It's not for me. I just feel like I don't deserve that. And
you don't.
I'm kind of just over it. And I was like, and he was like, I'm so sorry. You're totally right, Christy. Like, it was a really long conversation, but like the point of it was that he agreed with me. He knows he treats me like shit. Like, he knows he does it. And I do really care about him. And I know that he means well and he has good intentions. He's one of the greatest people I've ever known, but I think he's just so confused with his own life and lost with what he wants and like who he wants to be friends with, who he wants to, date in life, what job he wants, where he wants to end up. Like, all his life is just so confused. So, and I feel like he's just on this like path of like having to have this perfect set plan that it ruins like authentic, real relationships, friends, jobs, life stuff. And so I told him, I was like, I think that you need to do a little bit of exploring yourself, some self-growth, and I think you should really take some time to figure out what you want with your life and who you want to be and all these things, because you have to stop hurting people along the way. And he had done kind of the same thing. I was just his really good friend, but those 2 other girls he dated, kind of did the same thing to them, like similar situations. And so I told him, like, it's not fair what you've done. And I think that you should take some time to yourself to think about what you want. So we never talked again. And yeah, we haven't talked since. It's been a hot minute. But I definitely went through it for a really long time with the same person, the same ghosting, the same crap. So I'm happy to say that I am no longer in that revolving door anymore.
Thank God. Get on the elevator, out of there.
I think it just goes to show too that it's not okay like to do that to anyone that you've been in some kind of long-term relationship with, a friendship or not, you know, like imagine if one of us had done that to each other, your good friends.
Yeah.
It's just, it's weird as fuck. Like
I can understand ghosting if your friend has, or a friend or a boyfriend, anybody has done something that's hurt you. I can understand, you know, that if you have I think that you should always have communication. I'm just a big communicator. I'm never just gonna ghost you. I'm never just gonna do that. I'll explain to you, and then if you choose to continue to do the same bullshit, then I will ghost you, because it's not like I haven't explained it to you. And I had explained to him so many times, this is not fair. This is not okay. I deserve more. I've been your friend since we were 12. And we've had, you know, there's just a lot of history with us. And I felt like I deserved better and I deserved more. As a friend, you know, I see him jump in and out of these relationships and hook up with all these girls. And in my mind, I'm just like, it's so weird how you can be so great to these other people, but to your friend who you've known since we were kids and like grew up on the same street, how you could do that, you know? It just goes to show that they don't care about the length of time or the meaning of your friendship relationship.
Also, it's a bit of a red flag that he outs you every single time he gets a girlfriend. Why is he doing that?
Why do you do that?
Like,
sweetie?
why
It's
just
like
you?
It's also, if we're just friends, cutie pie, why do you have to cut me off?
Yeah. Normal people don't just cut their friends off.
Yeah, like if I'm involved with a guy or I get a boyfriend, I would never just cut my guy friends off. Why would I feel the need to do that? They're just my friend. That would be like, in my eyes, it's like if I got a boyfriend, I would never just stop talking to you guys. So what makes my guy friends any different? So, you know, it definitely shows, you know, a little bit of a red flag and some weird things when he has to stop being my friend every time a girl is in his life. And then it's like immediately when they're not in his life, he's like, hey girl, missed ya.
So I actually have a similar story too. It just wasn't as long term, but it was like one of those summer flings. And
Summer lovin' had me a blast.
Get it?
Summer lovin' happened so fast.
It did happen so fast. It's true. So, anyways, so I was dating this guy, casually dating this guy. We're going to call him boyfriend number one, because that's what we used to call him at the time, even though it was just completely casual to, you know, not mix him up. So boyfriend number one, I was dating him casually for a few months, nothing too serious, but we had gone on a lot of dates and hung out a lot and whatever. We were hooking up clearly. So all of a sudden I meet this other guy, boyfriend number two.
Hi, boyfriend number two.
Hey, boyfriend number two. So, but before he was boyfriend number two, I met him through a mutual friend, and it was really weird.
Yeah. Thanks, Katie.
Thanks, Katie. Thanks, Katie. So I found out that like he lives in my neighborhood. He lives like a street away from me or something, really close.
You're all for
they both did.
Oh my gosh,
You're
they
right.
did. You guys all lived a couple streets over from each other.
Oh my God.
Megan, you little house hopper.
I'm a little house homie
You've
hopper.
always been a homie hopper and a house hopper, keeping it in the neighborhood. You're so cute. You're doing amazing, sweetie. You're doing amazing, sweetie.
Thank you. Yeah, I stand on the corner next to the stop sign, so it's fine.
That's where they know to find you there.
So anyways, so boyfriend number two kind of swoops in out of nowhere, and this kid is like totally interested in me, and I was like not expecting it because I was like with this other guy and whatever. So I was kind of thrown off, and basically I was like, I'm not exclusive with anybody right now. So I kind of went through my whole like I'm dating multiple people at a time phase with like whoever, and I was just really like relaxed and like not putting any pressure on anything. But so boyfriend number two all of a sudden starts to just like, he wants to hang out with me every day. He's like kind of becoming a stage 5 clinger. He was like, I want to date you. I want to be your boyfriend. Like, I think I love you. And I should have ran from the hills then, right? but I didn't. And so I was confused because I was like, what? Like, it happened so fast. It was not natural. And I had this weird feeling from the beginning. I just didn't know what it was. I couldn't put my finger on it, but I was like, there's just something off. Like, there's something off about us hooking up. There's something off about the fact that he wants to be my boyfriend this quickly. And then I was right. And then something was just a little off. And I was like, I don't understand. So whatever. We like continue hooking up until like the end of the summer. And then someday, like it was kind of the same thing, how you kind of know it's coming because shit's getting rocky and weird. It was like that. And so we had been having problems. I was like, these are some red flags, and like this whole situation is just kind of weird. And plus I had left another guy for him, so it was like all whack. And one day he just didn't reply to my text, and I was like, okay. And then I figured, I'd see him because he literally lives down the street from me. Like, I can see his house from my street, and I never saw him. And I was just like, this is so weird. And so then a few days went by, a few weeks went by, nothing. And then I was like, still like, because then even though I didn't care about him and I kind of knew shit wasn't going to work out, then I was like, oh my God, why are you ghosting me? What the hell? Because I was just so confused. I'd never been ghosted that hardcore before. And so then about 6 months later, I get this interesting text message, and it was like a mix of hi, how are you? It was kind of just all in one, like he just blurted it out. This is how it went. It went, hi, how are you? I'm sorry I ghosted you. Sorry I never talked to you again. By the way, I'm gay. And I was like, oh,
I was not expecting that at all.
Yeah, and then I was like, that makes more sense. And then that was still it. I was just like, okay, thank you, I guess. Like, I'm glad you figured it out. I don't know what to say. And then I've literally never seen him since.
Wait, that's actually the best ghosting story there ever was.
Really? And I was like, I knew there was just something off about our dynamic, and I couldn't tell what it was, but I'm glad you figured it out.
It's because you were missing a vital piece of what he needed.
You just couldn't offer him what he needed.
You could not give him exactly what he wanted.
Christy was the first person to call it. She was like, I think he's gay. And I was like,
she's like, he's not gay. And I was like, oh, he's full-blown gay. And she was like, no, he's not. And I was like, okay. So then when
guess who the first person to get a text was? Oh shit,
you're right, he's gay. And I was like, ding, 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 we have a winner.
So did you think, Megan, like when it happened, did you think to yourself that the length that your relationship went, that you like deserved more than that? The ghosting part.
I think the ghosting, I think I was like, when it first happened, I played it off cool, and then I think like a week or two later, I was like, what the fuck? Right. Like, it pissed me off, especially because I was like, I can literally see your house. You can see my house. You can see my car in my driveway from your window. Like, it's just like, it was weird. It was like the proximity made me like think about it more. And then I like had this weird thing for like a week about like being in my own neighborhood, because then I was like, wow, like I didn't know all this time that he lived here, and now I know he lives here, and I like feel weird like driving by his street or something. I don't know. But I think once I realized like, oh, he's like totally ghosting me, then I just kind of accepted it, and I was like, hey, he's just whack. Like, it was whack. The end was all whack. He was a really bad communicator. And then it made sense.
It's so hard to know.
Like, you guys were like exclusive and serious at the time.
I still
like,
feel like 6 months is a lot.
But it wasn't. Yeah.
Like, I would.
Like, I still, like, I feel like I almost feel like maybe it was like he needed a cover up for like his own personal reasons. And like, that's why he wanted a girlfriend like so bad. Cause he pressed to call ourselves like being in a relationship. And to be honest, we did not do relationship things. So like, it didn't feel like a relationship. I wouldn't even consider him like an ex, but like he pushed it. And that's what was weird to me, because normally guys run away from me. They don't push to be in a relationship. They normally run for the hills. So I was like, red flag.
You're like, oh my gosh, he wants me. There must be something wrong with it.
I was like,
he
there's
must
something
be broken.
wrong. And there was.
Red flag number one is
and
he
I was
actually
right.
likes me.
Yeah, I was like, too
Oh
far.
my
What's
God,
happening?
that's so funny.
That is so funny.
Poor guy, though. I mean, he was probably struggling. It's not
He
funny,
was a struggling.
Yeah, exactly. And like by the time I had gotten over it, I was like, you know what? If I helped you out, if you needed me to play off, good for you. Like mutual handshake over the fucking Snapchat DMs. Thank you.
And you can rest easy knowing he's not out fucking other girls. You're the last.
Yeah, and for some reason that did bring me some kind of comfort. I was like, oh, it's not my fault.
That's a great question, though. Would it,
Right?
ladies, would it hurt you more for the guy that you were like dating to go date other girls, or him to go date guys and know that you could have never given him what he wanted? Like, what would you find more comfort in?
I feel like it would be easier, like knowing, like, oh, okay, they were gay.
They're gay.
Like,
I can't give them what they want. Yeah,
I will never be
sure.
enough for them. But if they go to like another girl, you could be like, well, what do they have
that I don't have? And you compare yourself.
Yeah. I would
Exactly.
agree. I would say if they're gay, then it's like, oh,
there's nothing I can do about it, and I'm happy for them. And it's almost more like you're happy for them, whereas like if you see them go with somebody else, you're like, why? It's another girl. But if it's a guy, you're like, oh, I'm so happy for you.
So Katie, you're the ghoster.
Yeah.
She is.
You dirty little
She's a heartbreaker.
I've never like ghosted someone that I felt like owed a conversation. Like when I dated the army boy, like I texted him. You know.
Wait, who the fuck is that? Oh
The army boy.
I'm like, you met him.
Wait, Katie, no. The other one, no, the second one, I'm not gonna say his name, but when you ghosted and that had me crying.
Which one?
I'm sorry, dating Danny. Lindsay, I was in San Diego for your birthday when Katie fucked him, and I was like, oh, Katie finally fucked him. And she's not giving us good details. She's not giving us exciting shit. I have a feeling she's never gonna talk to him again.
I remember we were staying in LA, and like you were texting me when I'm like in bed right next to him, like, how was it?
I do the same thing to Lindsay. How was it?
Chrissy is the queen of literally 3 seconds after you've been with a guy. She's like, what does his dick look like? And you're like, oh, can I like breathe?
Yeah, I was like, I'm not gonna tell you right now. She like, call me. Go to the bathroom and call me. I'm like, the bathroom's right next door.
She's like, send pictures of him while he's sleeping.
Yeah. But yeah, no.
What did he smell like?
The first guy I really ghosted, I would say, is this guy that like we were dating for a couple months, but it wasn't serious. Like, and then we hooked up, and it just, you know, when you kind of feel it, like you know, if the sex, like, if you're like, oh, I want to keep doing this, or if you're like,
yeah.
What time is it?
What errands do I have to run tomorrow?
Yeah. Like, it wasn't bad, but I was just like, you know, I don't care to ever do it again with you.
Oh, yeah.
So, it's not like one day I just totally stopped responding, but it would kind of be like, oh, let's hang out. And then it was kind of like, excuse me to not hang out. And then it was like the slow ghost. I don't know what that's called. Like,
a gradual ghost.
Casper?
Yeah, like, the fade away.
A gradual Casper.
And then right before quarantine, I was talking to this guy, and we went on a date, and he was perfectly nice, but we just didn't have a lot in common. So Is this
the guy that ate you out at TJ?
No. No.
That is my favorite story. Katie got her box spiked TGI Fridays.
It wasn't in the parking lot.
She's like, we ate some tostadas, had a margarita, and then we went out to the car.
It was the potato skins. Okay.
Sorry, we had potato skins and the margaritas, and then we went out to the car, and we were sharing music, and next thing you know, he was fucking eating me out in the parking lot at TJ Fridays.
Oh my God.
No, it wasn't this guy.
Sometimes
Although he
it
has
happens.
been Snapchatting me throughout quarantine. I'm like, no, I haven't been answering.
Okay, Katie gets the most attention, and Katie's a freaking heartbreaker. And it just was so funny, me and Chrissy, that these guys flaunt themselves at Katie, and she's just like, nope, ghost, nope, maybe a margarita and a quickie, but
A margarita,
nope.
you can eat me out and then I'm gonna peace
And then
out.
I'm gonna dip.
What's funny is like
Yeah.
A margarita and a munch.
I didn't even suck
Yeah,
a dick or
margarita and a
anything. I was
munch.
like, thank you, bye.
You are such a fucking heathen. You
I was
are
like,
a
thanks
heathen.
for
You're
the dinner
rat.
and the the dessert.
The dessert.
Oh, the dinner and the big O.
Thanks for the dinner and the big O. Talk to you never.
See you never, Kitty.
Oh, Katie, that's so fucking legendary.
Yeah, no, but the last guy
That story, I
ghosted-
pray to that story every night.
It gives me like hope and like.
One day you can get your box eaten in TGI Fridays.
Oh my god, I prefer the Chili's parking lot.
Yeah.
Like, quick,
You can
switch
make
it
it
up.
like
I'll
Taco
do
Bell.
Taco
It's
Bell.
okay.
It's fine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Megan's
take your
white
Taco
trash.
Bell.
She's like, I'll let him fuck me in Taco Bell.
Yeah, no. The last guy I ghosted though, we didn't even like hook up or anything. So I was like, okay, I don't owe you a conversation or nothing.
I ain't knowing you
Yeah.
nothing.
So those are my stories.
You are a freak nasty. All right, that's all we have for today. Thanks, Lindsay, for telling us your ghost story. And leave a comment below, listeners, in our newest post if you are the ghoster or the ghostie, or any stories you have on being the ghoster or the ghostie. If we get 100 views on this podcast, we're gonna expose all the motherfuckers we talked about in this podcast. We're gonna drop their faces on a post with their tagged Instas, okay? No, I'm just kidding. We're not gonna do that. We're not that crazy. But make sure to head on over to our Instagram page and give us a follow at Love That For Us Podcast. If you click the link in our bio, it will take you to our YouTube channel as well. So make sure to like and subscribe, as well as our Spotify.